Well, our next guest, attorney and founder of Liberty Counsel, Matt Staver, disagrees. He joins us now. Matt, thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
Well, Matt, you know, it's interesting. Chick-fil-A's corporate purpose, they say, is to, quote, glorify God by being a faithful steward of all that is entrusted to us and to have a positive influence on all who come into contact with Chick-fil-A. You think Chick-fil-A made a big mistake. Why?
Well, I think they clearly caved, and I highly respect Franklin Graham. He is a great individual, great spokesperson, but I think he made a premature decision based upon information that was not correct from Dan Cathy, and I think he'll come out and correct it because the information, the evidence is now overwhelming. Chick-fil-A has changed. Back in 2012, Dan Cathy said that marriage is between a man and a woman. In 2014, he said he regretted making that statement. That's when they began this whole process of change, and that's when they defunded Paul Anderson Youth Home because it was labeled, wrongly so, anti-LGBT. The only reason they kept funding Chick-fil-A or began funding or continued to fund Salvation Army and Fellowship of Christian Athletes is because they had a longer-term giving commitment. But then this year, the president, Tim Tassopoulos, gave an exclusive interview with Biz Now, specifically setting the record and the agenda that Chick-fil-A will not fund Salvation Army anymore, even though they meet two of their three giving categories in terms of homelessness and feeding individuals. Nor will they fund FCA. And why? Because they want to set a message as to who they are, because they're moving into more markets that are ultimately more difficult for them to get in because of this false label. And so they hold up as an exhibit, this is what we're going to fund, Covenant House International. And when you go to Covenant House International, this is an unbelievably pro-radical LGBTQ organization. It sponsors and participates in the New York City Gay Pride. It actually requires some individuals in some of their houses to wear buttons that identify their personal preferred pronoun. Now, this is a radical LGBT organization, and Chick-fil-A has intentionally chosen, despite overwhelming information, to fund this and holds this up as an example. That is a serious change in the Chick-fil-A mission and message. It is wrong. It needs to reverse itself. And frankly, it has betrayed the Christian public and thrown all of us under the bus that believe that marriage is the union of a man and a woman.
You know, as Christians, we always appreciate it, even though sometimes we wanted a Chick-fil-A sandwich on Sunday. We were like, good for them, they're closed. Matt, is this a bottom line issue? After Dan Cathy came out and said back in 2012, you know, marriage is between a man and a woman, did they see revenues go down? Is that what this is about?
No, in fact, they saw revenues go up. Governor Mike Huckabee launched the Chick-fil-A Day, August 1, 2012, and it was their biggest day in the history of Chick-fil-A at that time. Governor Huckabee now says that he regrets doing that in light of what Chick-fil-A has done. The problem is Chick-fil-A didn't need additional business. They got support from the Christian community, and they went into other markets, and people who are not Christians obviously support the food chain. They have expanded rapidly. They want to expand into Canada. They've hired a very radical pro-LGBT lobbying organization to get them into 15 new places in Canada. And that's really what's happening. They have ultimately brought onto their board people like Tim Tassopoulos, other people on their foundation board who are very strong pro-abortion advocates. And that has changed the complex of the company and the trajectory of the company. These are intentional decisions, and the decisions are to save its corporate skin, unfortunately, I hate to say that, and to expand its corporate footprint. And in doing so, it has been counseled and it has assembled people in high-level positions that say we need to change who we are and we need to start actively funding the LGBTQ agenda. And that's unfortunately what Chick-fil-A has been doing.
Matt, real quick, what would you like to see Chick-fil-A do at this point?
Well, first of all, I think that Dan Cathy needs to take control of the company. They need to remove and fire some people because it's going in the wrong direction. Secondly, they need to reaffirm marriage as the union of a man and a woman. Thirdly, they need to reinstate funding of good Christian organizations despite the LGBT protests. And fourthly, they need to stop funding these LGBTQ radical organizations. They need to get back on track where they were in 2012.
All right, Matt Staver, thanks so much for being with us. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well.
Thank you.